Hi everyone, this will be a channeled reading for you, for your highest good in this very safe and divine loving space. So please come on in, make yourselves comfortable, and let's get started. So right away, as I was sitting down to do this reading, I just have to share with you guys that I saw in my mind's eye the most large, beautiful, vibrant, bright sunflower. It was actually just one sunflower, so much so that I kept staring at it, thinking it was real, wondering like, when did I buy a sunflower? I don't remember that. I have a vase with other flowers nearby, and I was like, I thought I bought, the other flowers, and I kept looking at it, and it would not leave my mind's eye until I realized that I was looking at that through my third eye, and that wasn't like the real flower. But so I'm really feeling that for somebody here, and I felt called to say that right at the beginning here, that sunflowers might be very significant. And then earlier in my meditation today, I was seeing lemons and just also again this very vibrant, bright yellow color. So I just think that could be very, very significant for someone. And I also heard grasshopper. I didn't see grasshopper in my meditation, but I heard grasshopper. And so I'm thinking that there's something here with patience. When you say like, be patient, young grasshopper, or something, I don't remember how the saying goes, but it's like, a grasshopper is this, insect that wants to like jump from one thing to another. And so I really felt that the message with that grasshopper was something to do with patience. And then along with just all of that yellow imagery, it's like you're very excited about something very, you're just exploring something new. You're taking this big leap, with all this vibrant yellow, your willpower, your third solar plexus chakra is like literally just blazing with this yellow sun power, this energy, this fire, and you're being asked to just be patient, keep going. And then, the message that I'm hearing right now coming through is you've come so far. Don't you dare back down now. That's the exact words I'm hearing. Don't you dare stop now. Don't you dare back down now. Don't you dare stop now. So, okay. With all that said, I want to go ahead and I want to show you the actual oracle cards that I pulled. I did something very interesting. This is my idea of fun personally, and if you're here watching this reading, I would imagine this is your idea of a fun time as well. But what I've done for this reading is I actually pulled only from one deck. I pulled from the 22 Archangels, and what happens now is that this becomes a Archangel reading. And for any of you guys who are not familiar with Archangels, the Archangels are the highest of the highest, like the quarterbacks of the angelic realm. They are the big guns, the big guys. These are like, top level in the hierarchy of the angelic realm. And so, for anybody who's familiar with tarot, this is much like the major arcana in the tarot. So just the fact that I felt called, I felt this urge to pull only from the Archangels deck, that in and of itself shows me that this is a big, whatever I'm reading for you guys about, this is a very big situation in your life. This is very much related to your purpose, your calling, your life's path, your life's work, or just a situation that has really been long-standing in your life is the energy that I'm feeling. And I even feel with that imagery of the big sunflower, that big lemon, it's just like there's something very exciting, very expansive, very big about this reading in general. And I only pulled 5 cards. This is quite a small deck, but the information that was coming to me was like flooding open, like these portals opening. And so oftentimes the way that I receive the information in a reading, the way the cards fall out, if they're taking a lot of time and they're being very stubborn, I know that like the situation itself is stubborn. So there's definitely a mirror there in terms of how everything unfolds in a reading, even how the cards themselves come out. Do they fly out eagerly or do they stay put? All of that is kind of like a mirror and little signs for me about what's happening with you guys. And it was like the cards fell out so perfectly in order. I asked, show me like the strength of this collective, and the card, boom, fell out. It was like very on time, on point, like didn't miss a beat. I hope that's making sense, but that's the energy I'm getting here. Like this is part of your scheduled life purpose. These are soul contracts we're talking about. This is big stuff, like I said. And let me just tell you, each archangel that came out is so, it just has such a specific role here, as the archangels often do. But there's just something, I hope I'm explaining the energy correctly, because there was something so interesting about the reading and how it unfolded as I was pulling cards and preparing to sit down and do this reading. There was something so different, so distinct, so just, I don't know, divine and big, like I said, big and expansive about how this reading itself, like the cards were coming out and unfolding. I'm also seeing the number, I just saw 555 on the timer here, and I was seeing 555 in general, just in my mind's eye before this reading. So that's also just a sign of big changes, and these are not necessarily bad changes, but I am hearing that some of you guys may have had little shakeups recently where things had to sort of just fall away or slip away, or maybe relationships kind of disintegrate, you know, in order for the new to come in. That's always what happens. I'm also hearing clutter clearing could be really, really big for somebody. You could have just cleared, you know, something that, even a box or a drawer. It's not about the actual like mass or size of what you cleared out. It's about like something that you've been avoiding looking at, some cabinet, some files, something. You finally just went in there head on and cleared it away. Or if not, there was just some situation in your life that cleared up a little bit. It could be, you know, you've had a falling out with certain people in your lives, and you know, as of recently, like things just cleared up. I really feel this energy of like a massive clearing. Again, you could even see the way that my arms are moving, like my body language is just showing me that there's something big, big, big with this reading, and something really exciting. Like I feel very excited for you, because I know that if you're watching this reading, if you're still here after, you know, 7.5 minutes of me talking, and this is still resonating with you, that this is like a big deal, and this is meant for you, and that you are stepping into alignment with your life purpose. Okay. So let's get into the reading. And by the way, it's like you're stepping into alignment with your life purpose, but you know, it could just be like a big relationship, because that there is a lot of information here that relationships could be significant, but there's just something in your life is shifting that has always meant to be. And I'll get it, and you'll understand more, hopefully, what I'm trying to say and what I mean by that when I get into the individual cards. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to just take you through each of the cards like as an overview first, just so you can get an idea of the reading as a whole. And then I'll get into each of the cards, because of course, like I said, these are all archangels. So each of these cards has, has quite a few messages that come with it. So, and I'll explain the spread that I used for this as well. It's quite simple, just 5 cards, and I'll explain the position so you can understand who everyone is and where their positions are in terms of this reading. So at the bottom we have Raguel, and this card says waves of healing. Be open and vulnerable, as this will initiate healing and harmonious resolution. Now, the bottom card of every reading for me is this anchor. It's this kind of, you can think of it as like the underlying theme. It's the card that I pull at the very beginning just to get an overview of like what is even happening. And then from then on, I know that every other card that I pull is going to relate back to this in some way. It's going to tie back to it in a way. And I often keep that imagery in my mind. And when I pull cards for the spread in general, that's how I lay it out in front of me. I keep the bottom card right on the bottom, and with each card, it's like links back to that bottom card in some way. Okay, so that's Raguel. And I'll go through each card in much more detail after I show you kind of the overview. Then in kind of the first like real card position, right? Because we have Raguel at the bottom, and then we have 3 cards. The first card represents your strength. So this is something that you're already doing, that you've already kind of conquered, if you will, something that is your strength, that your angels, your archangels, your team of light is actually congratulating you on, and you know, this will deeply resonate with you. So that's Gabriel. Archangel Gabriel is your current strength. Now this is amazing because if you guys have been, you know, following along with my videos, and obviously you're part of this collective already, you'll notice, or you might remember, that Gabriel was kind of coming out in our challenge position in a couple of the past readings. So the fact that Gabriel has moved into our strength position now is so exciting. It means we're moving forward, and I really felt that, you know, I had this big smile that came out when I saw Gabriel in that strength position. So that's beautiful. Okay. The next card in the reading, so this is kind of the second real card, we'll call it. That card is Faith, and this card represents, it's kind of like, you could think about it in the present position, but it's like what your heart wants you to know. It's this blessing or message or even opportunity from your heart that's available for you to tap into at this very moment. And that card is Faith. That card says moving mountains. And I'll get into this a little bit more, like I said, in a moment. And then the third card represents your challenge. And remember, this is all as it relates back to Raguel. I hope that's making sense to you. The third card represents your challenge. It's something that you are not fully, you know, there yet with, but something that you're actually able to surmount at this moment by tapping into that strength, leaning into that strength even more, as well as tapping into that opportunity, right? That would be Faith for you guys. That opportunity or blessing or message from your heart that's available to you right now, okay? So your challenge at this moment is Archangel Michael. And this is something, like I said again, that you're able to surmount. Again, I'll come back to this in a moment. Now, where is this? So the fifth card, the fifth and final card, this is the card that I put at the very top. So if you can imagine, what I do here is I put Raguel at the bottom card, that's kind of the context card. And then I put these three cards, so strength, heart, and challenge, all in a row. Those all relate back to Raguel in some way. And then at the very top, so right above those three main cards, I pull something called a top card. The top card just gives the whole spread direction. It shows us, okay, where is this all taking us, right? Because the reason we go through challenges in our life is hopefully to get somewhere, to go somewhere with it. So with that top card, we have Archangel Sandalphon. This is the aim or the goal. If anybody's familiar, like with a Celtic cross spread, which is very common in the tarot, you'll know that like there's that top card as well. It kind of represents our hopes, our dreams, and just the aim and the goal. And so it's kind of like the same thing with this. And so that's Archangel Sandalphon. So just keep that in mind. All these three main cards are leading us to Sandalphon. And Sandalphon's card, it says, building the bridge. Your role is to create a connection between heaven, earth, and all hearts. Now, going through this spread, I just want to talk about a couple themes before we go into the individual cards themselves. I want to talk about a couple themes that I am just seeing when I look at the spread as a whole. What I notice about the three main cards that come up, right? Gabriel, Faith, and Michael, is that they all have this kind of open circle, right? Like you see, the circle is kind of not complete. Of course, this represents a divine connection, but just think about this, how I might be looking at the spread as a whole and what it means for us as well. Whereas the bottom card, Raguel, and the top card, Sandalphon, they both have these complete circles. So what I'm seeing here is that I almost feel like there's an open loop, right, in your lives right now that is actually ready to be closed. And that could be something like, with Gabriel coming out as your strength, it's almost like this energy of birthing a project, communicating, sharing your gifts, putting yourself out there. That's the energy I'm getting with Gabriel. And it's like you're finally took the leap, you finally did it. That's already coming out in your strength. Or if it's about relationships, there was finally some sort of closure that is coming in right now, most likely at this very moment that you're watching this reading. The closure is just starting to come through. And that's a beautiful, beautiful energy, because I do feel that with this collective, there's been kind of this energy, this ongoing energy of we're going through these challenges. So much is uncertain. And I'm not saying that all your problems have been resolved and, you can sit back now and relax. But what I am saying is that it does feel like there was a little bit of closure in a positive way or in a seemingly negative way. It doesn't really make a difference, but in some way, shape, or form, it's almost like puzzle pieces just came together, or they're starting to come together. Another thing that I want to mention, just before we get into each individual archangel, is that the four kind of main archangels, which are, each archangel, not every one of them, but they all have different elements, or they relate to different elements in some way. So for example, Sandalphon, and that's our top card, Sandalphon is very connected to the earth. And so he can definitely be related to the earth element, right? Gabriel is related to our emotional world. And so Gabriel is often connected to the element of water. Michael, and I will explain this a little bit further, but Michael, Archangel Michael, is related to the element of fire. And so when I look at this spread as a whole, I always look for, okay, what do we have too much of? What do we have too little of? What's missing? Or, maybe we're balanced in terms of the elements, right? And so we have the earth, we have the water, we have the fire, and what's kind of missing here is the air. Now, air as an element often represents our thoughts, our beliefs, kind of our inner environment. And although I will say we do have Archangel Michael's sword, okay, sword can certainly, of course, in the tarot, swords represent the mind and the element of air. But I'm almost feeling like what's lacking in your situation right now is just some inner work with your beliefs and your thoughts. So do keep that in mind, and I will relate that back to faith specifically when we get to that card, okay? So I hope that's making sense just in terms of the patterns that I'm recognizing and the themes that are coming up so far in this reading. Now, I want to go through these cards individually, starting with Raguel. Raguel, I will say, is an archangel that took me a little while to understand. I knew that Archangel Raguel, he represented harmony, healing, creating peace in our lives. But, to be honest, I found that very vague for so long. I didn't really understand, because every archangel, their purpose is peace and harmony and love, right? That's the whole point of archangels, is that we call on them to create harmony in our lives in some way, right? But it's Archangel Michael protects us, right? He's the Archangel of protection. Archangel Raphael is known to be the divine healer. So he brings, peace and harmony to the realm of physical healing. Archangel Uriel is often connected to abundance, finances, among other things, shining our light, learning, studying. And it was I almost felt like I just didn't understand Raguel's kind of quote unquote specialty. I was like, what, yes, I understand healing, harmony, peace, resolution, but what in particular? I then kind of started to just focus on Archangel Raguel for this little period of time in my life, specifically when I was having a lot of tumultuous relationships. Family, friends, I was in this period of deep, deep isolation. And I really called on Raguel. I started to form this more personal connection with Archangel Raguel to help me with this. And I have to tell you guys, Raguel has become one of, I love all the archangels, you can't not. But I've become so close to Raguel in the sense that I am not joking. I have seen Raguel work miracles in my life. Just whenever there's a situation with another person that requires harmony and healing in a way that from my ego perspective, I'm just not able to to do that, Raguel is your guy. Like the best way that I can describe it is like, you know, those people in your life, it's almost like there are like three types of people. There are like these people who just always find solutions. It's like, they're just solution finder people. You can go to them with a problem, or maybe in a work environment, it's like they'll always see a way to make it work, to get two people to cooperate. They're great managers is what they are in like a work setting. They're great team leaders. They're really like people persons. They're people. And then on the other hand, there are those people who are just like they just like go and they just find problems with everything and everyone. And honestly, like I would even go so far as to say, oftentimes these people are problem creators. And all they see is problems and why this is not going to work and why this one's not cooperating. And it's like, those are the people like I would not want to be hiring if I'm in a position to be hiring people, right? And then I would say, you know, maybe the third group of people is just like neutral. They go with the flow. Like they don't really create any problems and they don't necessarily go and find solutions either, okay? Raguel is your solution finder times a million. It's like, it doesn't matter the situation. If there's any friendship, any relationship, any area in your life that involves others, okay, which is most of the time, not always. We do often have like our own inner conflict, but Raguel is just able to create harmony. You guys, I honestly, I think one day I'm going to do videos on each archangel and just tell you all my personal stories, because the miracles that Raguel has brought into my life, I'm smiling as I look at this card, because Raguel for me personally has done so much with my relationships, things that my human brain could just never come up with. And it's always in the most miraculous way. Okay, I won't get too into it, but I wanted to take the time to explain Raguel and hopefully open up this door for you guys to invoke Raguel in your own lives, to ask Raguel to help you in your own situations, because he came out as the bottom card. And like I said, the bottom is the whole foundation of the reading. And so with Raguel, it seems like the whole foundation of whatever situation I'm reading for you guys right now does involve other people, or it involves how you relate to others, maybe how others see you, how they perceive you. But this is not just an inner battle with this particular reading. With Raguel coming out at the bottom card, just remember that everything else relates to something to do with this peace and harmony and cooperation with others in your life. That's Raguel, okay? So let's move on to Gabriel. Gabriel is your strength, okay? Gabriel in your strength position, I was starting to say this earlier already. By the way, this card says divine emergence. It's time to be seen. Don't be afraid of your power and gifts. As this coming out as your strength, what I'm hearing is like, you guys, you've taken the risk, you've taken the leap. You might, because Gabriel is often associated with good news, or even news of like birth, actual birth. So someone literally might have just had a baby or started a family for the first time. Or there could just be something with your family, with your own, even mother is very significant here. But it also could just be that you've finally birthed a project. Like it's been growing and growing and growing and growing. And it's like, maybe you started a business, maybe you put your first YouTube video out there, just something big has happened is what I'm seeing with Gabriel coming out as your strength. Like, with divine emergence, that message, it's like you have done that. You've emerged. You just emerged. I almost see this like big reveal. I'm seeing these like red curtains opening in my mind's eye, as if like the opening night is here, okay? So that's Gabriel. That's something that your angels want to congratulate you for. They are kind of, I almost see with those red curtains opening that they're clapping for you. You've done it. You've taken a huge huge step and a huge congratulations are in order, because I do feel that this is something that was building up for a long time. Either something like you just finally shared the real you, your real light with the world. Now, Gabriel's also very connected to teachers, to speakers, to anyone sharing their message. So that might be very significant with what you've just done, with what you've just revealed. But ultimately, it's also something to do with your inner child. It's something that that really represents the real you that you've now revealed, or you're just revealed to the world. You're just starting to reveal to the world. And that's your strength at this time. And remember, again, this is as it relates back to Raguel. So I do feel that there are other people involved in this, and that you've actually genuinely put yourself out there for others to see the real you. Something that, by the way, sounds so simple and so basic, but it's not something that everybody does in their lives. I mean, putting yourself out there and allowing others to see the real you, like that's not something that everybody actually is able to do at some point in their lives. And so if this is resonating and that is you, and you have done something that, just put your real authentic self out there, then you might just want to take that extra minute to congratulate yourself, because you may not even realize how big of a deal that is. I think that's a lot of our number one fear. I'm also seeing a deer in my mind's eye right now. I just had to say that. It was like a beautiful, graceful deer. Yeah, okay. It's almost like you've been concerned about being graceful and about the way that you present yourself to the world, and that you're finally elevating, ascending, and you just decided to take that risk. Yeah, I'm really hearing you've taken that risk, you've taken that leap. And if you go back through my previous readings, I feel like in many of them, I speak a lot about time to take the leap, time to take the risk, do it. And now I don't feel that message. I feel that you've done it. And that's why Gabriel's coming out as a strength. Now, this brings us to our next card, okay? Just because you've taken the risk, you've taken the leap, and you've begun, this chapter, this big reveal, it doesn't mean that everything will effortlessly fall into place from this moment onward. With Faith coming out as the next card, as that card that represents your heart and that blessing or message or opportunity, or kind of what your heart is asking of you right now, I'm really feeling like your angels just need you to lean a little bit more into that faith. And here's the thing about faith. What is faith, right? Faith is very different than like knowing that it's different than knowing. Faith is having a deep knowing and belief and trust in the unseen, okay? It's very easy to know what you already see and what's already in front of you. I also just saw a rainbow in my mind's eye, so there could be something there, but my human brain is unable to connect that at the moment. But I'll probably play this back. That always happens. I play videos back and I was like, Jess, how did you miss that? How did you miss that? So I don't know, maybe you guys do that too when you watch my videos, but this is absolutely a group video. It's not just me talking at you or to you. It's a conversation here. So when you are watching these videos, the things that I say, the words that come up in my mind, those are meant to spark you and your intuition. As you watch this video, it's an active process of you saying, yeah, this applies here, or no, this doesn't apply. And if it doesn't, you leave it for somebody else. Don't try to make it fit if it doesn't fit for you. Okay. Tangent, but maybe that was important for somebody. So with Faith, and you know what, I actually want to read just a little bit of a couple parts of Faith, because faith is this word that we use so often. It's like, yeah, have more faith, have a little faith. Yeah, just needed to have more faith. But the fact that we use it so often maybe just takes away a little bit from the true meaning of faith. And I want to read from the guidebook here just a couple of sentences that really stuck out to me. So, by the way, Faith is the divine counterpart of Archangel Michael, and we will get to him. He's a crowd favorite. Everyone loves Michael in a moment. But I want to just read this line here. So, You may feel that your prayers aren't being heard, but this isn't true. Your prayers have been heard loud and clear, and prayer has the power to move mountains, so accept what is rightfully yours. Faith is here to help you move beyond any limiting beliefs and doubts you may have about God or your ability to be helped. And I'm going to add to that, or to help others, because that seems to be a theme coming up. She will help you unlock a state of worthiness so that you can call in and experience the miracles you deserve. That's the main message from here that's standing out to me so much, because like I said, faith is having this deep trust in something that's unseen. And what is a prayer? A prayer is something you send up to heaven, and prayers are very extra important here because of Sandalphon. I'm just going to go, we're going to come back to Michael at the very end, but I will talk about Sandalphon for a second, because he is the Archangel of prayer, among other things. I'm also being called to tell you that he's also the Archangel of like actually losing things. You can call on him to find things that you've lost. But this also applies to, having metaphorically lost your way in life, right? Because Sandalphon is very connected to the earth plane. So he connects us to our earthly purpose, our life's path here on earth. He helps us ground into the physical and to walk the path that we're meant to walk on. Now, doing so requires a great deal of faith. And so that's the connection I'm feeling with the two of them, with Sandalphon and with Faith coming out. I really feel that you're being asked right now to have a little bit more faith in what you can't see as you walk the path. I'm almost seeing this image of the Hermit card from the tarot with the lantern. It's like everything around you is dark, and you're walking down this path, and you can feel and and you've already claimed that this path is for you, with that Gabriel card coming out. And you might have people around you with, of course, Raguel at the bottom here. You might have people around you kind of getting in your head, telling you this is the path, this isn't the path, whatever it might be. But it's almost like you have your team of angels, and you're just being asked to hold up that lantern, even though you can only see the next little step in front of you. It's like you're being asked to just keep going, even though you're a little blinded, right? People actually use the term blind faith. You're being asked to actually lean into that a little bit more. This is not advice I always give. I just blindly trust and have faith in everything. You do need to have discernment in your life. But with this particular reading, it's like you already know, you're already, this big path, this big thing, this big area of your life that we're referring to in this reading is not a little decision. It's not something that, you kind of drive by thought. This is something that you've felt deep within yourself your entire life. And so the faith that is being asked of you right now, the faith that is required to move mountains, to create these miracles in your life, is a little bit of blind faith. But it's the kind of blind faith where you know that like you are on the right path, you are moving through this with authenticity. So I hope that made sense in terms of what this means in this reading, in this part of your life. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Michael, because there might be some of you guys who see that Michael is coming up in your challenge position, and it might spark some fear right away. Why? Because Michael is the Archangel of protection. He's like a big bodyguard that stands behind us, and that helps us feel safe, and that actually keeps us very safe in our lives physically, but also, a lot of the fear that we come up against, especially as it relates to things like walking our true path, finding our purpose, sticking to that purpose in life. A lot of that fear comes from within. And remember how at the beginning I pointed out how the thing that's kind of missing here is that air element. We had the earth, the water, the fire, but we needed that air. So it's almost like the fear that Michael might spark, having him be in your challenge position right now, is just this internal fear of, again, going back to that faith card, and that part of it that I read is that fear of not being good enough, that fear of not being worthy. It's almost like I see this bridge, and actually that makes perfect sense because Sandalphon's card literally says building the bridge. But it's like, I see this bridge, you're on one side, you've taken your first step. And when you step on that bridge, it's almost like this bridge is suspended in the air. And when you step on it, you're like, okay, you took the first step, you're kind of suspended in the air right now, but you know that the bridge is sturdy enough to hold you at least this much. Like that first step, I've never done like a fire walk or anything wild like that, or anything remotely close to that. But just metaphorically, it's like taking that first step, knowing you're safe is that Gabriel card. It's like, okay, you've emerged, you've done it, you've put yourself out there. But with Michael being your challenge, it's almost like you're holding yourself in a fear pattern, not allowing yourself to be catapulted forward. Now, Michael, and you can actually invoke the sword of Michael, has a sword, which you can kind of see in this image here. It's like a sword. But his sword, his metaphorical sword, cuts through literally any BS, any faulty beliefs, other people's energies. If you're worried about others affecting you, you just ask Michael to cut the cords between anything. You could say this kind of an invocation. Thank you, Archangel Michael. Thank you for cutting through all of the cords of fear that bind me to people, places, situation. By the way, this prayer is something I learned from Kyle Gray. He's the creator of this oracle deck and many of the other ones that I use. But this is I just want to make sure that I give him that credit. This is a prayer that I say every single day. So thank you, Archangel Michael. And make this personal, because remember, Spirit does not care about what words you use. It's about the feeling that it invokes in you. So you stand confidently, tall, grounded, right? And you just imagine that Archangel Michael's sword is literally, and you can even do this, ha! Like I do that all the time in the shower. Sometimes, like I've been in hotel rooms before where I had somebody knock on the door. I'd be like, we heard yelling in here, are you okay? But you just go, ha! Ha! And you cut through any of the crap that's holding you back. And what I really feel in my heart right now is that when you do this, and you have the opportunity to do this right now, is that you will fly forward, catapult forward, and it will be like a positive avalanche, if you like momentum. That's what I'm trying to say. The momentum in your life will speed up, because I do feel that what's holding you back right now from what's on the other side of that bridge, which is your hopes, your dream life, your purpose, your blessings and abundance and everything you've ever wanted and dreamed of, and the reason, like your real why of whatever it is you've just leaped into, is on the other side of that bridge. And when you invoke Michael, and this is not a one and done thing. This is going to be, most likely, given the magnitude of this reading itself, is going to be something that you may need to do daily, multiple times a day. I do it multiple times a day, right? Like I'm a tarot and oracle card reader, so I come up against many other people's energies. I also put my videos out there on YouTube, and so I put myself out there to be judged at this moment in time. And so I really heavily rely on Archangel Michael to cut cords to anything that doesn't belong to me. Like, that's it. Anything that I question, anything that's a doubt, anything that's just not the real authentic me and that's not serving me right now on a daily basis. It's like taking out the garbage. You just cut it away and allow yourself authentically, the real you, to rise up and answer the call. So I was starting to say, when Michael comes out in the challenge position, a lot of you may jump to this conclusion, this faulty belief. Oh my gosh, someone's psychically attacking me, I'm not protected, da 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 da. And I just don't want you to go there, okay? In some readings, there might be a need for that. You might want to dip back into psychic protection. There might be more to say on that. But with this particular reading, I can really feel that what's holding you back and what Michael is representing coming out in the challenge position is that you might be being held back by old beliefs, limiting beliefs, thought patterns, thought loops, just crap that's not yours. And you need to take that sword and you need to cut everything that is weighing you down, holding you back, so that you can move forward freely and just really jump, finish crossing that bridge that you've just started walking on. And this card here, it says spiritual acceleration, right? Remember, like in this particular deck, that's what the card says. I have other decks where Michael comes out and it says, you know, protection, energy protection, or you are protected, you are safe. This card in particular, interestingly, it says spiritual acceleration. It says you are experiencing spiritual upgrades. Move forward. And this sword right here, invoking that sword, invoking the presence of Archangel Michael is what is going to allow you to move forward freely. So, with that said, I actually feel called, okay, what are we gonna do? I feel called to actually use angel prayers. And I know that the archangels come out, actually, again, Archangel Michael, they do come out again. All of the archangels, or 16 of them, are in this deck as well. So if an archangel comes out again, I will take that as a sign that we need to read the message from this book. But other than that, I just want to get you a little bit more help and support. So we're going to pull one card right now from Kyle Gray's Angel Prayers deck. And this is going to be a message. I want to make this about Michael and those fears that are holding you back. I want to just get you one card to help you with that. So thank you, angels and archangels, for helping us and this collective here to catapult forward and step into that dream lives of ours fearlessly. That's the wording. Okay, so let's do that. Oh, perfect. Okay, we had this card, trust your vibes. That's perfect. We also had 3 others fly out that were on top of that. I almost feel like they were clearing the air. But I'm going to read them, just quickly, briefly show you them, because all 3 of them are actually very relevant. The first one is love and accept yourself. And you guys, this is all about being held back by those feelings of unworthiness that we were speaking about. And I love this deck because it has like a simple angel prayer in a very positively worded, affirmative kind of language right on there. And so I'm going to recite all of these short angel prayers to you guys so you can use those in your daily life right now as you're moving forward to help you, cross that bridge to the other side where your dream life is. Okay, so this card says, thank you, angels, for lovingly guiding me to self-acceptance, okay? The next card that came out is trustworthy friends, and how perfect is that with Archangel Raguel? That's exactly what we were talking about before. But I almost feel like there's something also here where you're being led to certain people. You might be introduced, or you might just be making new connections with people. This is just kind of came to me as a download right now. And you're being asked to kind of like, if you meet somebody new, don't question it. People are going to be appearing on your journey right now to help you move forward, because remember, you just stepped onto this like new chapter of this path of your life purpose, or kind of this big karmic cycle in your life, this big part of your life, okay? So this card here says, thank you, angels, for surrounding me with people I can trust and love, okay? Another prayer, just short daily prayer or mantra to put into your arsenal right now. Okay, beautiful, synchronicity. I mean, these cards actually have a lot of relevance to everything we've been speaking about. And this card says, thank you, angels. I trust your well-timed guidance and signs. And that's another huge part of this. It's like, how are you going to know that you're on the right path? You're going to be seeing those synchronicities. You probably already are actually seeing 1111 and, the butterflies and the dragonflies, the birds, whatever your signs are, pennies, whatever it might be, your feathers, right? You're probably already seeing that. But here's the big card, that kind of flipped upside down, flipped open, and jumped out of the deck here. And that card is trust your vibes. This is going to be huge, okay? As you guys are walking down this bridge, walking this path, remember I was speaking about that hermit kind of imagery that was coming up in my mind's eye with that lantern where you can only see like one step of the way. Well, this trusting your vibes and asking angels to help you tap into your intuition, that is what's going to get you from point A to point B and help you take those steps with more confidence. And that has everything to do with faith, that was coming out, as well as Archangel Michael and cutting through the fear and the self-doubt. Okay, and so this card says, thank you, angels. Today, I choose to trust my intuition and your guidance. And remember, that guidance is going to come through the signs and synchronicities. And the guidance is also going to come through those trustworthy friends that you meet along your path. And that whole, trust in your intuition, well, look at the heart that's right in the center of this card. That comes, you guys, from loving and accepting yourself, okay? So these are all perfectly interweaving for me. I'm gonna leave it at that because I feel that this message is very, very potent, and I also feel the presence of Archangel Michael in the house right now, and I feel like the heat and the fire, and I feel hopefully that this card this reading has almost like lit a fire under your butt in some way, because the main message here for you guys is do not stop now. It's almost like a don't you dare stop now. You've come so far. Stop and congratulate yourselves and keep going. This is not the time to stop. This is not the time to back down. Repeat those affirmations. I'm gonna time stamp like where I started the affirmations so you guys can go back through this video. And remember, invoke Archangel Michael's help with this, because whatever is stopping you right now, I feel like it's something that is just to do with some limiting beliefs that you can literally bust through right now, okay? You're busting out, that's it. So that is all for today. And I'm very proud of you because it seems like you've taken a huge step. And I want to thank you for watching this reading, for being here, and I will see you in the next reading. Thank you so much. Bye.